This is the story of Amara, a woman who once believed marriage was a bed of roses. Her husband, Tobi, loved and pampered her endlessly. He never shouted, never forgot special days, their anniversary, her birthday, even the little dates that only them remembered. He proudly showed her off wherever they went. Being married to Tobi, her best friend, felt like the best thing that ever happened to her until now. At first, Amara didn't notice the change. It came quietly, like a shadow at sunset, slow, soft, almost unrecognizable. Toby still smiled, still asked her about her day, but his eyes no longer held the same warmth. His laughter grew shorter, his hugs became brief, and the long evening talks they once shared turned into silence filled with unspoken words. Amara tried to convince herself it was just stress. The work was taking too much of his time. She cooked his favorite meals, left him with little notes like she used to, and prayed he smiled in the way he once did. But deep down, she could feel it. Something precious between them was fading, and she didn't know why. Days turned into weeks, and the distance only grew. He started coming home late, sometimes avoiding her gaze completely. The phone calls he once answered eagerly now went unanswered for hours. And though he still said, I love you, the words felt rehearsed, like something he said out of habit, not heart. A few days later, while folding laundry, Amara found a hospital prescription slip in Toby's shirt pocket. His name was printed clearly on it, but the medicine wasn't one she knew. That night, when Toby fell asleep, she searched the name online and her heart almost stopped. It was treatment for a chronic illness, one that affects strength and sometimes a man's ability to have children. Amara's hand shook. The question came quickly. Why didn't he tell me? Has he known all along? Was this why we had no child after 6 years of marriage? The next afternoon, Kunle, Toby's best friend, came by. Kunle was a nurse, soft-spoken, thoughtful, and very playful. He told Amara he'd seen Toby at the clinic, looking pale, and he thought he should rest. He brought fruits and soup and stayed to chat a while. For the first time in months, Amara laughed. She didn't notice how warm her laughter sounded, but Toby did. As he came home and saw them together, he smiled, but his eyes looked clouded, like a man carrying secrets. That night, Amara sat alone in the living room. The house was quiet. The wall clock ticked softly. She could hear Toby moving in the bedroom. Then he came out and said in a calm but trembling voice, Amara, we need to talk. And right there, in that moment of stillness, Amara knew her life was about to change. The room was quiet, except for the soft hum of the ceiling fan. Amara looked up to Toby, her heart thudding painfully against her chest. His face was pale, his lips trembling as if the words he wanted to say were too heavy to carry. She didn't speak, she just waited. Toby took a deep breath and sat across from her. Amara, he said quietly, I know you've noticed I haven't been myself lately. She nodded slowly. I have, but I didn't want to believe it. He looked down at his hands. Those same hands that once held her so gently now looked weak and uncertain. There is something I should have told you a long time ago, he whispered. Amara's chest tightened. Toby, what is it? He hesitated, then said, the medicine you found. I've been taking it for almost a year. Amara froze. She had hoped he wouldn't confirm it, that somehow what she read online was wrong, but hearing it from his mouth made it real. For a year? She asked, her voice shaking. And you didn't think I should know? Toby looked up, his eyes glistening. I didn't want to worry you. I thought I could manage it, that I would get better with time. The doctor said it might affect me, but I didn't think it would take so much time. His voice broke at the last words. You should have told me, Toby, Amara said with her eyes filled with tears. I'm your wife. We are supposed to face things together. I know, he said slowly, but every time I looked at you, I saw hope. And I couldn't bear to break it. I thought if I prayed hard enough, if I stayed strong enough, maybe things would go back to how they were. I didn't want you to see me as weak. For a while, neither of them spoke. The only sound was the clock ticking on the wall, counting the seconds of their silence. Then Amara whispered, is this why we haven't had a child? Toby swallowed hard and nodded. Amara closed her eyes. It was as if the walls around her heart had cracked open. Every test, every herbal drink, every sleepless night replayed in her mind. All this while he had known. She finally opened her eyes. Tobi was crying. I'm sorry, Amara. I should have trusted you with the truth. She wiped her tears, forcing herself to breathe. You hurt me, Tobi, not because you are sick, but because you shut me out. He nodded slowly, unable to speak. That night, they sat together on the couch, not as husband and wife, but as two broken souls trying to find their way back to each other. Amara rested her head on his shoulder, not out of forgiveness, but out of love that refused to die. But deep inside her, she knew something had changed forever. The following days were quiet. Tobi tried to act normal, leaving for work early, sending short texts during the day, coming home tired and withdrawn. Amara, on the other hand, spent her afternoons alone, lost in thoughts. One afternoon, there was a soft knock on the door. It was Kunle. He smiled faintly when she opened it. I just wanted to check on you, he said, holding a small bag of fruits. You looked worried the last time I saw you. Amara hesitated, then smiled back. Thank you, Kunle. That's very kind of you. They sat for a while in the living room, talking about simple things, the neighborhood, work, and the changing of the weather. For the first time in weeks, Amara felt seen. Kunle didn't try to fix her pain. He just listened. He didn't speak much, but when he did, his voice carried calm and warmth, something she had been missing. When he finally stood to leave, he said softly, You don't have to go through this alone, Amara. Sometimes it helps to talk. She nodded, grateful but unsure how to respond. Later that night, as she lay beside Tobi, listening to his quiet breathing, her thoughts drifted, not out of love or disloyalty, but out of confusion. She wondered how everything had changed so quickly and why, for the first time, she felt a strange sense of comfort in someone else's presence. The night stretched long and silent. Amara realized no matter how hard she tried to hold on, her heart was beginning to wander. They say temptation doesn't always come with warning signs. Sometimes it comes wrapped in kindness. For Amara, that kindness came in the form of Kunle. He was there when the silence between her and Tobi grew too heavy. He brought food when she was too weak to eat. He listened when she needed someone to talk to. And before she realized it, she started waiting for his knock on the door. What began as comfort soon became something else. Late night talks turned into lingering glances, and those glances became moments she couldn't explain. She tried to fight it, she really did, but her heart was too tired of feeling alone. One evening, Toby came home earlier than usual. He found them in each other's arms. The look on his face froze her completely. Shock, hurt, disbelief, and then silence. Before she could speak, Toby collapsed. The sound of his body hitting the floor still echoes in her mind. The hospital lights were cold and unforgiving. The doctors moved around quickly, their voices a blur. Amara held Toby's hand, whispering prayers through tears, begging him to wake up. He did, but he was never the same again. Days passed. Kunle stayed close, helping, supporting, and loving. And in her weakest moments, Amara gave in to what she thought was love, or maybe just escape. Weeks later, she found out she was pregnant. The truth hit her like thunder. Toby's illness, her guilt, the child growing inside her. It was too much to face. She told Kunle they had to leave before Toby discovered the truth. He hesitated at first, but love, or whatever was love, gave them courage. One cold morning, Amara packed her bags, stood by the door for a long time, and whispered, I'm sorry. Then she walked away. Months later, in a quiet city, far away from home, Amara gave birth to a baby boy. He had Kunle's smile, soft and warm, the same smile that once made her heart restless. Some nights, when the baby sleeps, she sits by the window and thinks of Toby. She wonders if he ever forgave her, if he's still fighting, if he ever knew she left. Her voice breaks every time she whispers, I didn't leave because I stopped loving you. I left because I couldn't bear to see you die with my betrayal. And though the world sees her as a woman who ran away with another man, she knows the truth. She didn't run from love. She ran from the guilt of it. And that sometimes is the beginning after the end.